What's up guys and welcome back to On the Brick with what is admittedly a bit of a simpler video today, but nonetheless something I really wanted to show off. To keep the explanation short, something behind the scenes has been taking away my attention, meaning today's video did have to be a little shorter and easier to make. But if all goes well, on Friday, I'll be able to tell you exactly what that is. So I ask that you bear with me for something that is still a worthwhile mock, as today, we look at this wonderfully made mosaic of who else but Ahsoka Tano. This mosaic comes from the designer Jonah 2018 WSU. It's said to contain around 2,500 parts, and I'll explain that in just one second. However, the really awesome thing about this is that the instructions are completely free. You can actually go and download them right now at the link in the description down below. However, for the sake of transparency, this version you are looking at is actually the non-LEGO version. Something which I'm not sure how many of you would have known had I not said anything. Okay, builds like this are always really weird to show off because it's one of those things where the closer you get, the worse it looks. You actually need to be pretty far away from this to get the full image. But I'm making a YouTube video and I'm not gonna sit here and just sit on this screen all day, so you're gonna get some other shots. Now, despite explaining this literally every single time, the question that I always get from people when I show off a non-LEGO set is, why did I even bother? And while I did make a full video about that, the answer for this one is rather simple. There's actually two answers, but it's technically the same. The first and biggest reason is always going to be money. I bought this set for a total of $80. While, if I wanted to buy the same exact set using real LEGO pieces, the cheapest that I can get it for is $187 plus shipping and taxes, which is going to be about another $15 considering how Bricklink works now, so we're talking about a difference of one being $80 and one being $200. And especially in something like this, there is not a noticeable enough difference to want to pay that much more. And the second reason is that other people have made other mosaics that I would like to get. To give another Ahsoka Tano example, here's one that I think would be really awesome to have. But it's over 7,000 parts and would cost over $400 to get, which I'm just not willing to spend that kind of money on something like this. Honestly, I'd probably spend like $150 on it at most. And if you've ever built any of the official LEGO versions of these, like the Iron Man or whatnot, you probably know why. It's all just tiny tiles and pieces that you put together. And I personally don't think they're worth that much money. I own one of the Iron Man ones. I wanted to get more to have the full collection of them because, well, you know, I love Iron Man, but they're just not worth $120. So being able to get this for a somewhat discounted price of $80 just feels a lot better to me. That's still a lot, especially for non-LEGO and especially when you consider some of the problems I'm about to talk about, but it's still more worth it for me. Now, in those free instructions you can get, the designer actually has two different versions, depending on if you want to spend a little more or not. Both of his instructions look good in my opinion, and by the way, the price estimate that I had was based off of the second option, which you can see on the right there, where everything is replaced with tiles and all that stuff. But for some weird reason, the non-LEGO version doesn't use either of those instructions, and instead made a third worse version for themselves. If you were to buy this, they do send you quote-unquote instructions, but it's literally a single piece of paper with an image of this printed on it, divided into a grid. They suck. Don't use them, just use the real instructions, and it's going to be so much better. If you do that, you are going to have to buy some additional pieces, like the flat silver that you can see intermingled here, and the sand blue that I used for Ahsoka's eyes. those do not cost too much. It literally cost me less than $5 to get all of those pieces that I needed. And for me, it was totally worth it. I don't mind having to spend just a little extra to get this thing right. After all, I do want to try to capture the original image as much as I possibly can. And for some reason, I still have hundreds of tiles left over after this for if I ever want to use them or anything. Come to think about it, even if you didn't want to build this, it's not a bad way to get hundreds of tile pieces. Anyway, point being, the difference in the instructions there is why I said that this had about 2,500 pieces. The official designer says it's closer to 2,400, while the non-LEGO version says it's actually more than 2,500. And part of that is because of the back here. When I bought this, and it could be different now, but when I bought this, the non-LEGO companies were not fully able to replicate some of the pieces used in the official LEGO mosaics, mainly the giant plates that you put everything on. Or I guess base plates would be more accurate, whatever those giant 12 by 12 pieces are called. Anyway, so they had to recreate it themselves, and it actually works pretty well. This is definitely not something that you want to be moving around too much, but it is literally a display piece. This is something that once you build, you just hang on your wall, and it'll be perfectly fine doing that. I personally would recommend adding just a little bit more back here to help secure all of this together, but it's not going to fall apart on you or anything. It'll be fine. And I personally love how this thing looks. I have it up next to my Iron Man, and they both look wonderful. And like I said earlier, you would not be able to know that this isn't real LEGO. In fact, most of the people who've seen it have had no idea. So how would I rate this? Pretty simply, actually. Everything gets a 10. Okay, look, it's Ahsoka, so of course it's going to be perfect. But no, the design does actually get a 10, the instructions do get a 10, the cost of the instructions do get a 10. However, the build process I am going to unfortunately give about a 6 out of 10. Building the back of this is a little frustrating even if it does hold together once done, and of course, this is pretty boring to actually put together. I'm not gonna sit here and lie, even though I like Ahsoka, this just was so boring to do. And, of course, the cost gets split in two. The actual cost using real LEGO is also gonna get a 6 out of 10 because $200+ for this just sucks. But I'm gonna give the non-LEGO version a 7 out of 10, which is only slightly better because when it comes to non-LEGO, $80 for this is still a lot. Better than 200, but still a lot. And that makes the final totals this, which you see on screen and I'll do in editing. Of course, I would like to hear your thoughts in the description down below, or what other mosaics would you like to see, if any? Have you enjoyed building these, or do you think that they're just boring too? Please do make sure you check out the original designer at the link in the description down below and give him the support he deserves. And also let me know your thoughts in the comments while you're down there, and hit that like and subscribe button. If you haven't already, consider checking me out on Instagram, Discord, and of course on Patreon, where your contributions go a long way towards helping keep this channel going, and at higher levels you can get shoutouts like Jonathan and Project Elements. Thank you all so much for watching what ended up being a way longer video than I thought it would be, and I'll see you next time.